Hi, and welcome back again. Let's continue working with the cover system. And last time we made this montage play, and what we will do now is finish that up and hook in the other two animations. Um, we made, if you call a new state called a standing cover. And let's put that into use here. So inside the animation blueprint, you will notice that whenever, for example, we wall run to something or jump to a braced hang, and we also set the movement state. So let's make a copy of this and plug that in between here, like this, and set it to is standing cover. So now our animation blueprint knows that we are in the state is standing cover. So when this if we click at this function, we will also make sure that the owning actor is getting called to set movement state. So inside our base character, we have this one. It's actually called climb state. That's wrong. It's movement state. But this one is the event, so it's in turn calling a similar function on the base character blueprint, which will then in turn update the movement state on the character blueprint. And inside here we have stuff that actually was also covered previously. Okay, so let's not focus on that. Let's return to this one in a bit. Let's go back to the animation blueprint and take this one, close this one up, and okay, so we make sure to update the movement state to is standing cover. So inside the locomotion, you'll remember all this spaghetti stuff with the states. For now, let's just work out from the idle run. Might want to drag these also from some of the other states, but let's just, for simplicity, keep this one. Let's drag an arrow out here and say add state, and say cover something like I will cover movement, and we'll go into this state whenever the movement state get this one is equal to is standing cover, like this. And what we want to play in here is going to be the blend space that we made. So we have this play cover why do we have two? Okay, I don't know which one this is, and I don't know, to be honest, why I have two, but I do. Okay, I'm just assuming you only have one, because I may have mixed something up. Anyway, this one takes a movement direction, and if you recall from the videos with the movement, the climbing from left to right, we update a variable called movement direction inside the movement input. So for example, handle right movement, we say, okay, if we are not climbing, then we'll just do the normal stuff. But if we are in any of the other states, then we want to take all this stuff and update this movement direction, and set this also on the, as you can see, eye animation get this carried over to the animation blueprint. So also, if you don't have this implemented yet, then pause the video and copy this first before you continue. You might also want to take this, which is the forward movement version. So we have the left, the right movement and the left movement. So it's just these two that I packed into two smaller functions. Okay, let's continue with the animation. So we have this movement direction, which is being carried over to the animation blueprint. So inside, somewhere in the variables, we have this movement direction, or we can drag this one in. And then this will get feeded into this one. Okay, so well, we could maybe drag one down back and say, okay, if we are not in, if our movement state does not equal to standing cover, then it will jump back, but we won't really use this yet. So let's see if we play this now and move up to a wall and press crouch and then move from the side. He's gonna just spin around. So that's not what we want, obviously. The reason for this is that we don't have the lock the movement rotation. So we do this inside the what was it called? Update movement state that I just showed. This one. So when we set this state that we are in a standing cover state, then all this code will be executed on the base character as well. And I have a switch down here saying on movement state, so if we're not climbing, then blah 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 and so on. And we just added a new state called is standing cover. And as you can see, I already prepared a little stuff. Actually, I forgot to remove it, but anyway. So what we want to do is to drag this one in and say, okay, if we are in standing cover, then we want to have in this movement mode to be walking. But we don't want to orient rotation to movement. Okay, so this is, let's test this out quickly first and see what that gives us. So we will get up to the wall, press crouch. Okay, and then when we move, I see that we have the directions mixed up. Okay, we need to fix that first. Okay, that will be inside the mesh right here. We have the blend space. I think I mixed these two up. So let's delete this one, drag this one over, and this is right. And this is over sneak left, this one. See how that looks. Okay, it looks a little bit better. Well, he's making kind of a snap from one side to the other. I don't really like that, but we could work with that. So right now he's, yeah, well, there's no way of getting out of the sneak mode, but and as you will notice, he's gonna, because he has a little bit of an angle, he's gonna move further and further away the longer away you get from the get towards the wall. It's visible from this side. He's gonna continue with a little angle. So that's the last thing we want to address in this video. So inside the base character, again, the event graph, we have the onTick event. And onTick event we are checking climbing state at the moment and doing some other stuff. But this one, you'll notice I feed in a movement state and saying, okay, if we are in a hanging braced, then we want to do a lot of stuff, which I mentioned in the, I think it's part 32, about how to angle your way around the walls. So what we could just add here is to say, okay, if we are in a hanging brace state, or equals to standing cover, and say or. Come on. Then we want to make this adjustment to the alignment of the wall. And what we have down here is some logic saying, okay, are we facing a wall? If we are not facing a wall, let's see, then we want to say, okay, in case we are in a hanging braced state and not facing the wall anymore, then we want to drop down from the ledge. But in this case, we also want to handle the situation with why do we have this one up here? Weird. Okay, then we want to also have a check saying, okay, if we are in a standing cover mode, so dragging up from the falls, let's make another branch like this. And so if we are in standing cover and suddenly not being connected to the wall anymore, we just want to set the movement state back, but we don't want to do it like this. We want to call this function we have update movement state up, this one, because this one takes care of all the updates back and forth. So set that back to not climbing and make sure to update the other, which means the animation blueprint. So that is this guy again. So the one that we just had before, which will call it back to the animation blueprint and all that stuff. Make sure that the orientation and all that is correct. So let's test this out now. Okay. So now you can see there's a trace, and that will keep him on the wall constantly. So if we actually come around here, he's just going to follow the wall around. And that's kind of a consequence of the logic that we made last time. And here he just popped off and returns to the normal state again. So, well, there's a kind of bug here, I think. It's like he's missing the wall. Anyway, I need to look into that. Anyway, this should demonstrate how we can implement some cover stuff just off the same logic that we had with the climbing. So hope you liked it, and I might continue the work on this because it kind of bugged out by this behavior. It's kind of getting stuck and stuff, and can't really get off the wall yet. So I might address that in a future video. Anyway, just leave a comment if you have any questions. If there's something that I didn't really cover or just skipped over too fast, let me know. Respond on my channel. But anyway, hope you liked it, and bye bye.